solid.
I kind of love having my phone.
Wait, I wasn't prepared for the.
You want to do that again?
Good morning. Look at us with our Vegas our Vegas morning voices. Hello,
Good
everyone.
morning from Vegas.
Oh my! First of all, I love the Vizier side hat. That is awesome.
Listen, I figured, there has to be at least some kind of like swag report.
Oh my gosh, you have the fanny pack that I made you get. I mean, that is hilarious.
My God, like you really made me get this fanny pack. And then they're like, take two. And I'm like, dude, I'm not wearing.
Why would I need two? But tell me the occasion that I would wear two.
In it, because it has beef jerky in it.
Seriously. First of all, beef jerky is expensive.
These are very high level gifts.
Pistachios are $19.99 a pound, just so everybody knows. So that's a good deal.
And I'm not really sure. I mean, who's fan? It's actually, literally last night when we were going to all the places.
Yeah.
I wish I could have had this fanny pack.
Seriously. See? That's what you get for being rude about it. I tried to save you.
Had that and the beef jerky. Would have been handy. And this morning, we sound, if you've never been to Vegas, regardless if you smoke or not, if you drink or not, you should expect A3 to sound like this.
I'm all the deep. Good morning, everybody. How you doing? I'm all the deep.
But it's been so much fun, though.
It's been awesome. Good morning, Jess. Yes, we should be in bed. Hallelujah. But here we are. First of all.
But yet, here we and it's not but first coffee.
Who am I kidding?
First beef jerky.
I was up at 4:15. Who am I kidding? Laying in bed going, I don't need to be up this early. I can go back to sleep. Just close your eyes. Yes, close your eyes. But I'm not falling asleep. It's the worst.
Did that. I was like, I set the alarm, and then I was like, did I set the alarm? Oh, I did set the alarm. Did I? Oh, wait. Did I? Oh. That's what I did for the last 6 hours.
So let me ask you a question. Why didn't you have your charger? What is happening this morning?
So because we were walking around, my computer was too heavy in Katie's room. And I thought I might get kidnapped. I mean, it was just a lot with Katie yesterday. So I'm like, I'm going to let Katie go. I'm not going to get kidnapped. And then I told Tacita that I lent Tacita my charger. That was a thing. That's, no good deed goes unpunished. No.
Katie was a lot yesterday. I just want to kind of sit in that for a while. Go ahead.
But I got my charger. We are now live for Jessica and our millions of fans.
I have to tell you, I mean, I'm not going to get you to cry right away. I'll wait a while for that. But haven't we been so humbled and loved while we're here? Like people coming up to us and saying, I watch you. Like, holy cow.
I really got a little embarrassed. I was like, I didn't know. I didn't really.
It's so kind. The amount of people that are like, oh my gosh, I watch you every Thursday.
And yet we knew that they were not going to make it this Thursday. They're not here. But the people we saw are not here this morning. Only the true fans are here this morning.
The true fans, those that really love us. No, seriously, everybody who knows me, I'm a crier. I can't help it. The water level rises immediately. And literally have had people just, we're walking around and reach over and grab my arm and I'm so sorry to bother you. I just want to tell you, I love watching you guys every Thursday. Thank you so much. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
I'm like, yeah, that has been really overwhelming. It has. And we're so glad. Look, Dion too. Hi, Dion.
Dion, good morning. I mean, it is, and what you and I also talked about is the amount of people who are watching this, not live, just because of schedules and stuff, but after the fact. Holy cow! People are like, "Yeah, I can't do it because of work in the morning or whatever." But Thursday night, like when I go
Yeah.
home or on my way home, I have it playing in the car on Bluetooth so I can just listen as I'm driving home. Like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, so kind.
I just want to show that Teresa was being
Teresa.
generous. I'm totally very right. Like, and thank you for not saying Jackie in the chat. I appreciate that.
I
But we know
I don't know. It's
all.
totally true. My
This is
darling, not
actually the best my voice has sounded on day 3 ever.
ever. I will
This
say
is
you
the
have paced yourself very well. You have
I
paced
feel
yourself.
good.
Yeah. Listen, and y'all, you can't see the full picture of Jackie. I just want to say, um, sh- and I didn't tell you this, so I'm totally putting you on the spot. I am so healthy. Jacqueline is like killer healthy, mentally, physically, emotionally, just in a great spot. And
Aw.
so fun to like be with you and walk around with you and just kind of bask in your health overall. So
It is, yes, and this is not thrush. I just also have my chapstick in my bag, which is
go
over
get
with.
it. Can you
Listen,
get it? Is it nearby or no?
no,
Because
this is what I'm
I
looking like. I can eat a banana. I can't.
I'm I mean I got all kinds of issues. I I left
Yes, you
my
do. I have a lot of issues. Let's talk. Let's talk. Which one should we
I
start?
I mean, Evan White. Let me make sure I give the shout out to Evan White. Bless your heart, Evan White, because uh, as you know, and I pissed you off. I left my bag at an event. My backpack. I mean, she look, y'all. Jackie
Yeah.
was in the back seat of this Uber, just irritated with me. Turn the Uber around. Go back and get it.
Who does,
And I was like, "It's fine. Someone will find it. It's fine."
who does that? Oh, I'll just leave my backpack in a random bar in Vegas, and I'm sure it'll turn up.
Someone will find it. It had my like tablet in it, my Surface tablet, like all this stuff. I'm like, someone will find it.
In the
Bless
meantime,
Evan White's heart. He found
Jersey was like in the elevator. It'd be for sale, like in 2 seconds.
it. It's
It's
like
just
Robin is like, what? What did you do? It's because, listen, this is the truth. I should not be allowed to hold things after 5 p.m. I'm not making it up. Post 5 p.m., if I'm holding something, I will it somewhere. I just put it down for a second to grab something else and then I walk away. I just don't have any idea. So I always come back to the room before the festivities so I could drop the crap off because I just nope, we're not going to do that. We're not changing for event. We're going to just go and run. And what happened? I had the backpack with me, left it. We were at like dog. What's the name of that place? Dog something dog. We were at, and I'm just
that's
had a
right.
wonderful time. Had a wonderful time. Yeah. Shut up, Jamie. I don't need this aggravation. Actually, I don't know if it's a company provisioned one. It may be one that I keep from you. I'll have to think about that one. But
Listen, the rules don't
which
apply.
now is also going to get me in trouble because I just said I have a non
You
company.
are, so you are so grounded. I would like to say, listen, this is the cutest bag ever.
I I just had my
Swag report. This is the cutest
yes.
bag
Nicole Garati, thank you so much for getting us
from
the fawn
Mama,
flag.
and
We appreciate it.
inside it has this lovely scarf.
For the cold winters of Vero Beach, I will be wearing. I'm only going to wear this, nothing else but the scarf when I
I
get
am
home tomorrow night.
right now in Vegas in my room. So I
As am
do
I.
have gloves. We had, so just so you know,
You
they had,
stole the
I
gloves. You were supposed to give those back.
know what, you throw them away or keep them.
Oh, I thought that bucket was collecting
No,
them.
they
The
don't share these.
trash.
They don't. They nasty. They like, I don't know you. We were in the ice bar. In the ice bar, they make you
Oh
dress
my gosh.
in a
Yes.
full
Yes.
parka. If you want to upgrade, you can get like a faux fur.
I mean, let's talk about that ice bar for a second. So they had whatever ice bar old fashions. I just want to tell you, it is the strongest drink I have had in years. I mean, it was potent. I gave it. I don't think it was you. Somebody else took it and was like, just to smell it, and was like, oh my gosh.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
not very old fashioned. It was very modern.
I mean, those
But
of
they
you who
come.
know me, like I can hold liquor. I have a very high tolerance for some insane reason. But that drink, even I only took a few sips, and I'm like, I can't. It's just uh, way over
It
the top.
was, but I had some very sweet, very sugary and delicious. But I do love those ice cups. Those were kind of fun. In Texas, they would have been melted in like 2 seconds. But
I
you're
was
literally,
just going to ask you if you stole one of those with the gloves.
yeah, that's why. Yes. It was cute. If you've never been there, it's very cute, but it's all ice. Like there's
It's
only so much
freezing.
to do. You can sit in
It
the place and pretend that you're like an Eskimo. Or look,
literally is freezing.
I like
First
was
of all,
like,
I love your hair.
it took a lot. It's getting really long. And then I literally had my bonnet on like 3 seconds ago. That's why
I,
I was like, do this
and
with the bonnet.
we had a lot of hair touching at this conference. I want to point out. So we have taken 3 steps backwards, I would say, with some of that, because you're not supposed to just go up and touch people's hair. Let me just say
No,
that again.
there's been a lot of hair touching.
Tons of hair touching. Oh my gosh, I love it. And then just reaching and grabbing. Don't do that. Don't touch people's hair. First of all, I have hair envy. Nobody's touching mine. Nobody's saying, oh my gosh, John, I love
He's
that.
asking people to.
Touch my head, please. Yes.
Yeah. And
There's the new
people are
t-shirt. There, there's the new t-shirt. Touch my head, please. Yeah.
hey, do that. I'm talking to you from my cell phone. I have no idea what that's like.
No, you look great.
It's like literally, I feel
I,
like,
however, and I am in some sort of like back room alley. I have this like bare
yeah,
light bulb just
really.
blazoned in my face. Yeah.
But John's all fancied out. I am staying at the Luxor. I mean, literally,
Don't hate
the
on the Luxor. You got to see your
I
nephew.
my nephew works at the Luxor. He was at
Yeah.
Flight. I should people in Vegas go see my nephew. My nephew, by the way, he's like 35 and 6'7". Like I talk about him like he's 8 years old because he's off today. He's gonna hang out with us. And I found a picture. And I asked him to hang out with us like at my first HR tech like 10 years ago. And it's so funny. He was just like baffled. He was like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, at the time I worked at ERE Media." And he was like, "You just go to places and like eat food and have cocktails." I'm like, "Yes." It's like, "Do you pay for them?" It's like, "No, it's a party." And he was like,
Yeah.
"This is out of control." He just could
I'm
not
here for it.
believe
Yep.
like that was my job. And since then, now he's a bartender. See what happens?
See, you
I
caused
really
that.
do.
You caused that. It's the truth. Dion, by the way, I'm reading some of the comments. Good morning, Josh. Say it again for the people in the back. I'm not kidding. Don't touch people's hair unless they invite you. Just don't reach up and grab. You got to be careful. You do have to be careful. First of all,
Um,
when I was younger, I remember touching someone's head and it was real greasy. And I regretted touching their hair. So don't do it
And I regret it to this moment.
to this day.
I remember, like, it's just the faces. Like, I don't even want to get that close to people.
It's funny you're saying that. It is interesting to me because you are. I don't know how many you've seen. I probably would say a handful or so folks who are engaged and involved in the conference who are masked up, right, for whatever reasons, their personal health or because they have a loved one that they need to be thoughtful of in returning from a thousands of person conference they need to be thoughtful of. But I know that there are certainly pockets in the US where flu and COVID and those kinds of things are on the rise. Right. And I don't know, part of me thought that I would see more, but it's really
It's
only been like a handful.
because the
Yeah.
odds are so good. Like, why are you here? You're coming to lose money. You're, better judgment. I'm concerned. So I should win.
Better judgment. Better judgment.
Listen, this HR Tech, if you've ever been to the expo, literally
Oh my
there's
gosh.
500, the most booths they've ever had.
Yep. Wait, you don't have to protect yourself from yourself. Why are you putting it over your
Honey, I
face?
do. My breath. Oh my God. I had
Ugh.
fish and chips at like midnight. Oh no, it was like 10. I went to bed.
I
It was,
lost you. I lost you at
yeah,
somewhere,
it was,
Skyfall, or I lost you somewhere.
yes. I like, it was 10. I left and then I went and had fish and chips downstairs and they're delicious at the Luxor. Delicious. The
I,
most delicious I've had in a long time. Not just the taste.
yesterday was a great day, though. Don't you think yesterday was a great day?
Yesterday
It's
was a
like
great day.
amazing, amazingly good. Like these 500 companies that are here. Listen, those of you that have been to conferences, and I'm not poo-pooing it, like those who've been to like expo halls, but if you've been to like a state conference, or even been to Sherm National or something like that, it's like crazy to see the companies when it's technologically focused, and to have 500 companies here. There's so much that people are creating and innovating with software and layering software. We've got software aggregators that are trying to help your company with the 4 products it has to pull it into a place that is much more user friendly, that sort of stuff. A ton of creativity is here, and it's exciting.
It's a
I
lot of,
love that.
and some old school, like we haven't been paying attention. There's new logos, there's new colors. We were looking for items. It took forever. We were looking for the red,
Forever.
standard red.
Yeah.
They changed it to
Yeah.
like a blue items. And they did have Ike, for those of you that are concerned, Ike being their little bird shot. I was like,
Bird is not dead yet.
the best gift ever at HR Tech ever was when Ike was dressed like Elvis and Ice in booth, and it's the cutest thing. I still have it. Well, I think Scooby has it, but it is an Ike dressed like Elvis.
Well,
So cute.
and first of all, you mentioned iSims, so shout out to Mike Wood, because
Whoop, whoop.
that was one of the festivities we attended last night was for iSims. We attended Cielo, Higher Easy. Shout out to Higher Easy. Shout out to um, we had the BFF party last night,
Who was
which was
at the BFF party? We were at the other party. There were
we were
two.
at Rippling, we were
Yeah,
at Paycor, we were at Eightfold. Eightfold was awesome. And it's funny actually that you're talking about the coloring of companies as far as their logos and stuff. Eightfold, Paradox,
yes, they
and
changed their colors.
they all change, and they're all this like tealy kind of color. It's like the same shade. And Eightfold and Paradox are like next to each other, and I'm like, you're all the same teal and white. It's
I think
interesting.
next year I'm gonna have a Black people report because you know what? Speaking of colors, these people, I'm like, you have no Black people here, and I need to know your
Not
intention.
one.
I'm feeling
No,
uncomfortable.
no.
I
There is
literally said, I don't
a
think I've said
booth that
that.
it was like the Stepford wives were working it. Like it was all that same sort of blonde.
It
And no,
was like,
nothing wrong with blondes. Don't at me, everybody. My wife is blonde. I don't feel some sort of way about
no,
blondes.
like,
Relax.
feel some kind of way when there's a booth and there is no, like, when everybody looks the same.
Yeah,
I really,
Stepford. That's
I'm like, I was like, you don't see me here. I was like, I write checks. You wouldn't know that. You'd have to look down because you're like literally 6'2". And I was like,
I mean, it is. Oh, good morning, William. How are you, William Tyrone? I don't want to. I appreciate that. Thank you for the note. Um, I would have to say it would. I don't know if I missed it, and it's absolutely possible. But there isn't really a strong push for content related to inclusivity. The equity word is really wrapped into pay equity. And look, you're not going to get a complaint from me because of Sentinel Pay Analytics. I believe in pay equity and all that good stuff. But I think equity is just very
you're
narrowly
making it
defined.
equal for at your
Yeah.
company when they're all like tall white guys. Who is the equity for at this point? They're the lack of like just being able to read the room. The room being HR in
Well,
the US, companies trying to, like, you can't have it both ways where you have no representation. I mean, and there's always the booth that you think they hired everybody to work at this booth. There's no
Well, that
way.
used to be the case.
Yeah.
We're people of a certain age. You know, there were, I'm going to just say it, we used to call
Yes.
them booth babes. You remember booth babes? They were just hired
Yeah.
for the event. Hmm.
Yes. It wasn't as bad as those days, but they definitely aren't
Oh, no,
as
no.
as as you'd like to see, just in general, just like at Target. Do you know what I mean? Like, it
Yep.
was like, it says a lot. And there also is a lot of weird. Listen to that. You hear who's texting? Who do you think's texting me right now?
Why is he texting you?
He wants to know how things are going. Send him a text and tell him, Todd,
I'm not.
we do
We're on the
thing.
show. He is unbelievable. Last week he came in, was chatting like he thought it was after the show, and now
Listen, I'm saying,
I know. Text him back because we lost you on camera because I know you're texting him back. Everybody, don't think something's wrong.
take a
She had
screenshot
to
and send that.
she had to go off camera so she can text her executive producer. I mean, last week he came on and was like chatting, and then like, wait, you're live? The show is going on? Well, what you think? We do the same thing every
He's gonna
week.
text me back. Yeah, he is gonna say, "Oh, sorry." Do any of you have people like that in your life? When you're like, "I'm asleep," and they say, "Oh, you're asleep."
Oh,
Like, they
what?
don't just say,
Yeah.
they're
Were
like,
you out late last night?
"Oh,
How come you're still sleeping? Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Dion was
No,
babe in college. I want to hear about that.
Dion, listen, we all
Right.
listen.
I,
You had to do what you had to do.
babe. I was a booth babe for Sprint.
I have said on more than one occasion, I was young, I needed the money. I'm just going to leave it there. I mean, that's just.
The 80s were hard.
You ain't kidding.
I'm even hard.
You ain't kidding. Josh Rock, you do need a nap though, buddy. I got to tell you, you were looking pretty beleaguered last night when I was FaceTiming with you. Just saying.
You were FaceTiming Josh last
So,
night.
Jess had called him from eye candy, and Dwayne Lay is talking to him on the phone, and then Kyle Gunas grabbed the phone, and I'm talking to him, and Josh looked like, look, y'all, I love you, but I need to go to bed. Stop talking to me. I want to go to bed. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, buddy. You must have, it was a long day for you yesterday.
Listen, I will say
I
there's been a lot of tuna tartare, by the way, in Vegas.
There,
And
yes,
for a
you're right.
landlocked state, there's been a lot of tuna poke bowls, or for a landlocked, ain't a tuna swim by here in a million
I
years.
did. That is,
There's been
that
tuna at
didn't
every
even enter
party.
my mind. That is so true, but it didn't even enter my mind.
There
There's
is
not water.
you're not
Where is
showing
it coming
yourself
from?
by getting the tuna.
They got it from California and drove it across the desert. I'm sure it's fresh and delicious.
These are land tuna.
Oh my gosh. Oh, not. Who's there? Land shark. Yeah, I know
Tuna
you are. Remember?
poke
Remember?
bowl.
I'm not really a
Yeah.
shark. I'm more of a dolphin. Remember that Saturday Night Live? Holy cow,
They're
we're
like,
so old.
I'm not gonna answer the door. You're that land shark. Oh,
You're
it's your grandma.
Lorraine Newman. Oh my gosh. We're so old. I'm gonna tell you, I don't care what anybody says. SNL in the late 70s was like the best.
So
The
funny.
best. So funny.
So
So let me ask you a question. I want to ask you a tech question. Let's talk about HR tech. I want to ask you a tech question.
okay.
We're gonna talk about Textio, so table that one. But I do want to ask you a tech question. As you walked around, was there anything that stood out to you as like, this is smart? This is a smart product or smart approach that they're or problem that they're trying to solve the way that they're trying to do it.
Yeah, there was one company, and hold on, because I have to look at my list of companies. There has been more things that were going on about. This was an onboarding company,
Mm,
and it was a onboarding company. They were trying to have more of a automated approach to onboarding, and I did think that that was really smart.
I
I
mean,
know that. I mean, the thing was like, because of AI, and they were able to customize the onboarding experience. right?
Customized.
But then you
Very
have
nice.
to customize all of the things based on the person's needs and your company. Because I think a lot of times we just think about our company.
I just,
NFL is on.
yeah. They said, "What's your name for the order?" I said, "John." I don't know. I just am noticing that.
That is not your coffee.
Well, whose name is Naful? I'm just noticing it. That
John
doesn't
from
say
Florida.
John. How did, that's creepy. They asked for my name and they wrote NFL. Okay, anyway, sorry. One of my favorite areas, those who've if you've been at HR Tech before, or if you're kind of walking with me, I creep into the startup pavilion, and I love walking around. They're these itty bitties. They're not even booths. They're like
Yes.
they're really like cocktail tables, high top cocktail
Yes.
tables.
They cost $5,000.
It's yeah,
I said it.
we won't. I
I
know
said
it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Um, but I love walking around there because they're like, bless you, they're like hungry and excited because they have this idea that they're super passionate about it and trying to raise some seed money and wanting to sort of showcase. And even if it's not fully baked, right? They've got the general framework going. I love walking around there because it's so different than sort of the established. And I'm not mad at ADP or paychecks or whatever. It's not what it's about. But just to kind of be an encouragement to those that are trying to create next gen AI, consider it software, or I mean, because everything's AI, everything. Just put it into
everybody
anything
talks
you're doing.
about it, and they have it with reckless abandon.
Yes, yes. Yes, everything that you do is an AI. First of all, some of it is real intelligence. Don't dismiss that. Not all not all of it's artificial. You really sat and thought through it and put it together. That's
That,
real
that's
intelligence.
and I tell you, next year you're going to see security because there were so many things with no security plan, no implementation,
That's
like
a
no
great point.
recommendations for IT. And it's like, oh, look, just give all of your information to this fake people and they'll come up with all the stuff. You're putting your data somewhere.
I, I I'm
Aww.
oh Steve Brown with the drive by. It's the way that's how he works his friendships. Just a quick drive by, no real in depth
You know,
meaning. It's how
there's
he
no
operates.
attempts to close.
Doesn't really want
Just
to
a,
connect with people. It's his vibe, everyone. The
you know where you
and
stand always,
now
just off
now
to
I'll
the
be
side.
getting now I'll be getting the middle finger emoji on my phone from Steve Brown all the time.
I wanted to show everybody this book. Hold on.
Yeah, get the book. Get the book. Oh, she is a mess, y'all. She's a mess. Her thumb hit the hang up button, just so y'all understand what's happening here. So she'll be back with us when she realizes it in a minute. But I will say, just in continuation of the startup piece, if you aren't here at HR Tech, don't worry. I think there's ways for you to get a list from HR Executive, the magazine, of the companies that were here for the Startup Pavilion. And I really would encourage you to take a look at I think there's like 50 companies, something like that are in this incubator. And I would encourage you to take a look at them and see what they're doing, especially for those of you that don't have much of a budget. A lot of times those companies in the Startup Pavilion are looking for partnered pilot program for free, or next to no cost, because they need data. They need to be able to show the workability of their product. So I'm talking to you that might be listening in a small company, who need that kind of um, you know, onboarding like Jackie was talking about, or sometimes it's benefits related portals, things, wealth management, those kinds of things. try to partner with some of those startup pavilion companies, because you really might be able to do so with very little budget, if any, necessary, so that it benefits both you as an organization and them for the data that they're trying to collect. Okay, I see her coming back. Where are you? Where are you
I'm here.
there? Are you there? Are you there?
And what happened?
I mean,
And then it
you are hilarious. You put your, I saw what you did. No, when you put the phone down, I saw your thumb go right over it, and you probably hit end or whatever. Like, I saw the thumb go, and I'm like,
well,
she's hanging up.
I'm not even now. I can see that everybody sees this book. I to be like, just I don't know what I'm half the time. Look,
I see the book. The book is, I don't know, for me, it's reversed. I don't know if it is for everybody else. I always have those issues. And you're not on the Wi-Fi, I don't think, at your hotel. Ah, that's better.
is it? I am too.
Well, I don't know. You weren't lagging before. Jimmy, that's a great question. How do you get a list? I'm pretty sure if you reach out to the HR Executive Network, um, if you go to the HR Technology Conference website, I think there should be contact information somewhere that takes you back to HR Executive, and ask for that list of companies. I can't speak for them. I don't think they should charge you, but you might be able to get a copy of just this. Say you're interested in those in the startup pavilion to be supportive. Try to be specific. You might get lucky, because they don't do it anymore. There's no lists and bags, right? None of that stuff happens anymore. For those of you of a certain age, like I am, and remember the bag being filled with, your contact list of companies. And in the app, they're mixed in with the other companies as well. It's not broken out by kind of location. These are the people in the startup pavilion. So I think you should be able to get a list from them. This one, oh dear, is your name now?
I changed it. Oh dear.
Steve Steve Brown said AI was shutting you down because they control everything.
It's a bot.
It's
Fully
a
a bot.
going
Fully a
to
bot.
get you.
The AI very
I now those Jackie's going to be frustrated with me, but I want to make sure I say, so that it doesn't come out of Jackie's mouth. It'll come out of mine first, and then I'm going to let her have time to celebrate and share with you all what this means. But we had a wonderful session yesterday morning with Josh Burson. And if Josh before, just go online, you find him. He's got a million things. But he did his update yesterday around sort of the state of technology and where it's going. It's always fascinating. The Josh Burson company does a ton of research, and at the end of his presentation, he did, I think it was 15 trailblazers is what I'm pretty sure it was trailblazers of companies to, like, hey, be on the lookout for. And he's very clear to say, I'm not endorsing any of these companies, but he's basically endorsing these companies because he's saying they're the ones to watch, right? And in that top 15 is a little company that's near and dear to our hearts named Textio, that got a massive shout out yesterday. Big logo,
It
front and center on
did.
the screen, right? So, like, how about that, Jackie? How about that?
I
Congratulations.
felt I was like, really, thank you. I was in shock. I was just, I mean, because we do good work, and it's so funny. Like, as we're talking to people, like we were saying, there's so many people that may not even be aware of the potential thing, of what people are trying to do. And then you're like, oh, we help people recruit and retain, inclusive talent. And people they just look at you blindly. And so sometimes, like, that's a problem. Like, you have to start from the very beginning. There's always those people. So when you know that somebody actually recognizes your work and they describe it, and you're like, yes, that's what we're doing, and that it was validated, that, it was important, it meant a lot. And like John is saying, we know there's over 500 companies here, and
Mm-hmm.
he studies companies to tell companies what they should purchase. So for him to
Yeah.
make the recommendation, there were 15 companies, and it was nice to be recognized.
Well, and I want to make sure that it is, the context is clear. This it's not it's not a pay for play as far as HR tech is concerned. Because let me make sure I'll say this, because I'm not involved with Textio. I don't own any of it. It has nothing to do with Baldino. Textio has no booth here, and quite
No.
frankly, I think it was 2 or 3 other companies in his top 15 are not here. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not physically here, as far as a booth representation. So it wasn't about who's here that I could recognize. It is genuinely these 15 companies are trailblazers, has nothing to do with their involvement in this conference. It's about what they're doing. So I think that just validates it even more for Texio.
It did feel like that to me too.
Right?
But I'm very shy and embarrassed. That was a lot.
Well, I will say what you should be embarrassed about is what you said afterwards, which was 2 of the 15 companies that were listed in Trailblazers, the current company and a previous one that you worked at, you're like 2 of the companies I worked at are on that list. What's the common denominator? I'm just saying.
Neither one of them were on the list before I worked there. But after,
I'm just observing. I'm not making any assumptions. Yes.
It's not my fault. It is because of it's my reason, not my fault. Did you hear about Jada Pickett? Look, I'm wearing my hat like this because did you hear about Will Smith and Jada Pickett?
They're getting divorced.
They've been separated since 2016.
Oh, thank God.
Did y'all not know
2016?
That's what they
So
announced.
that's been then what'd he go up and slap Chris Rock for?
That's what everybody was saying. They're like, so you lost your job yelling about your wife that you haven't been with in the last 7 years. Got it.
Well, I mean, I can't. I will say things on the show that will get me sued, so I can't say it.
I just keep thinking, when people love. I mean, I don't fault him for that, but it just you did a lot for someone who is been separated and doesn't live with a person that's a lot of time.
I mean, you assaulted though another human being, a comedian. By the way, you were on a comedy show for years, so I don't understand all of that. And I'm not a comedian. I know I'm funny, but I'm not a comedian, so I don't know what the world is like in terms of do they understand that deprecation is part of the act and you just have to let it go. I don't know. Mm-mm. But you don't get up and punch and slap Chris Rock. You don't do that. I'm sorry.
I think no, you don't. But I do. I am wearing my hair similar to Fresh Prince circa season 3.
Yes. Thank you. I can't do that with the scarf.
Yes.
So, again, I feel like we have a responsibility to be as HR tech oriented as possible because so many people aren't here, right? Who may be watching. I find it curious that in Burson's chat yesterday to see some of the larger companies that are trying to pivot, be as relevant as possible. And he had some feelings about SAP SuccessFactors. He had some feelings about ServiceNow. Yes. He had some feelings, right, about what they're doing. And it was really interesting to sort of hear their names be used in the context of they're trying to move the needle because it's such a big needle for them.
There's sharks out there, right? There's literal sharks out there when they talk about the size of ADP. And you don't hear about ADP. I mean, ADP is on our badges. I'll show you what they look like. But ADP is on our badges. We have these. And so this is what it looks like, the badge. And so they literally, we all know the company, but people take for granted because there's a lot of people that are forced into ADP. Let's just talk about it. It's Absolutely. We use ADP. And not because I'm not saying it's a bad product. I just think that there's a lot of people that don't recognize that they're still growing. They're still growing.
Yeah.
ServiceNow growing. And Crazy. Remember, SAP SuccessFactors, the guy who runs ServiceNow used to run SAP. Didn't he run SAP? He used to run SAP.
SAP, yeah.
And ServiceNow. And then the other one was Workday, of course. And you look at those companies, but he didn't talk about look, a lot of these ATSs, they started as ATSs. They're sharks too.
Yep.
Like we have the recent acquisition by of Skill Survey by ISIMS
Yep.
happened recently.
Yep.
They talked about that. There's
They,
some other ones
they
that
talked about
have just
higher view and modern hire, the acquisition that just
yeah,
happened there. We also obviously are in the midst of, it's not a finalized rebrand until January, but Ceridian is officially becoming Dayforce. And
yes,
yeah, and so we have like a hybrid logo right now is what they're using, but
Cornerstone.
January it'll be fully Dayforce.
It'll
And
be Dayforce. Cornerstone still acquiring and growing.
oh my
Huge.
gosh, they are. And they're printing shirts like mad here, by the way. So if you want a t-shirt,
Yes, dude, my shirt. I didn't. I got the one that said, "Don't make me use my HR voice."
you got one. I didn't even go. I walk by these things and I don't stop. I'm the worst.
Katie and I went when we came back after seeing Trey Trey. We went and got Trey
Oh,
Trey
that
being
was
my nephew.
smart. That was
We
smart.
went and look at that because we were waiting there.
But I will say
Look,
I'm frustrated still.
by what?
I'm not I'm not poo-pooing any of the companies we just mentioned, not by a long shot. Because I mean, I do work in Workday, and I mean we have clients that are on these platforms, so it's not that I don't feel some sort of way about them. The however for me is we still are doing a disproportionate amount of perspective on enterprise level organizations when it comes to
Yes.
technology, and not enough on the SMB to mid-market companies, which are the largest percentage of companies, for instance, in the US. So we just don't speak directly enough to those pain points of the SMB and mid-market and act like, you have 15 companies that want to sell to the enterprise client a similar product. And so these 15 companies are all competing against each other for this monster enterprise company
Well,
on an
and
18-month sales cycle. Well, what about all these
like
SMBs?
I want to bring up that Josh Burson, and sorry because I don't know if I'm talking on
You're
top or
good. You're
beside
good.
or Josh Burson did say he was like Workday famously difficult to use. Growing up, I was like,
He did say that, famous
people
difficult.
pain in the ass Workday. I mean, it wasn't wrong.
He's not.
I mean,
He's not wrong.
everybody's kind of
He's not wrong.
you are right about that.
It's difficult.
But I just got back from Workday Rising a couple of weeks ago, and I'm telling you, it says a lot when you like hold a space. Like you don't actually do payroll, but you can connect with all these people that do payroll,
You
and
don't you pay?
that's the bit like
Just say it again. Not everyone Workday doesn't actually do payroll. Be real. I mean, be super clear. I know you would think they would because they're this beast of a system. They're not really doing your payroll. The highest percentage for them is run through ADP. For payroll, OSV is the second for them. So people don't know that. They're like, OSV? Who the heck is OSV? OSV is pulling down some bank being number 2 for Workday, just so you know.
speaking of that, this is what we've heard everybody running to, and I got a little nauseous about the new people are like performance reviews. The best way to do the OAN, isn't it OAN?
Yeah.
Of well, who do you go to? Well, ask who are the 5 people that you get advice for?
You were
Who are the
moaning,
5?
Jackie, when she's watching a session, she doesn't like
I am like
a groaner.
I am. I can't. It's all those years in church. It's the call and repeat. I cannot not do that. I feel like literally the preacher he's talking to me. He wants a response, or else they wouldn't have let me in.
FYI,
Literally,
they all don't want
I
a
was,
response. They all don't want
and
you.
I sit there like this,
I know. I see your
until
face.
they change the subject. Literally in the middle of it. Oh, and we heard from no, and I'll be like, nope. We just asked the top 5.
Well, because it's like we're going to remove bias.
Work.
We're not going to do 360s. This is a general perspective.
Yeah.
Everybody just wants to just throw everything. No more 360s. They're evil. Look, y'all.
You just tell us who the best people are. and then we'll tell you who the
And then
are.
and somehow the ratings are more honest and they go up. Well, yes, because I told you, ask my 3 best friends. I want to hear from the person that
Right,
thinks that
right.
they had metric. They're like, look, we have metrics. They had metrics to show that the ratings were improved. Are we joking? Right? Uh, of course they're going to
And
improve.
again,
It's not biased.
how about I always get my feedback from Jimmy because Jimmy is always up here in my face. They don't ask, why do you think that is not one of the questions.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
solicited or solicited. That is not
I
one.
yeah. Anytime, unless it's something systemically discriminatory or disenfranchising. And obviously, that needs to be vetted to make sure it's not just your opinion, that something that you're using is systemically discriminatory or disenfranchising. Don't always throw everything out the window because the latest and greatest is
No,
here.
that's what they're literally saying. Don't give
Yes.
ratings. Don't do 360. Don't do full reviews because people feel some kind of because we've all worked for companies where everybody got advice from Heather because Heather is the boss's cousin, not because Heather's smart
Yeah.
or Heather always finds a way for me to not have to do my job. That's why I go to Heather because Heather leaves early and gets paid, and I want to know how to do that.
And every time when I come in the morning, I bring Heather a cup of coffee because it's on my way. I'm stopping at Dunkin' to grab
Yeah,
mine, and I
so I
just
talk
grab one
to
for
Heather the most.
Heather. I had a CEO once love one of the people that worked for him for a variety of reasons, but I'm not kidding you. The second thing he told me as to why he loved this person is that on her way to work every morning, she would stop and get his coffee exactly the way he wanted it from Dunkin', and she got her own. So she wasn't going just for him. She was getting her own stuff. But I thought, that's the second thing you're telling me as to why this person is so important. Like
And guess
it's a
that
bias.
girl today has type 2 diabetes.
No, it was sugar-free vanilla syrup. It was
She was
very,
trying
it's
to climb up the ladder today. Type 2 diabetes, liver failure. And he's like, but she was great.
but but
Four
she
out of five
right.
stars.
And his name was Neffel. So
And I would give it 5 stars if the coffee was warmer, but she was slow.
she's too slow. Drive faster. Get here
I
quicker.
don't I get what people are trying to do, but the problem is why don't you bring any inclusionary consultants to it is the lack
Oh my gosh.
the lack of understanding on how bias and relationships work at an HR conference is ridiculous. The fact that nobody said I think I told you there was a panel. The panel, let me tell you, the best part, you pay and invest a lot of money to go to these conferences, and there is a pay to play component. And I
Oh
don't
yeah.
care if you like me
For the
saying it because
content.
they don't
Yes.
like black people anyway. So my opinion will mean nothing to the people running HR Tech Conference, to be clear.
Woo! Here she goes, y'all.
When you go into yeah, I don't care. At me. Please, at me. If you go in, literally, I was in a conference. The woman said, when I go, I'm in tech, and the guy says, oh, we can't say stuff because you're a woman. And the response is, oh, yeah, that happens. You just, you'll get over it. And you're one of the largest of these companies. It's one of the companies we already named. And you're the woman head of global like HR saying, well, there's a
I know
problem.
there is a problem. I
Or,
know.
and the other one was saying, well, the only way you can get moving up is like, I think women just aren't confident. I, and
I
if
don't
you could
understand.
just
First
be
of all, was that
confident,
recorded?
yeah, I recorded it. I got it line for line, line
Good.
for line.
Yeah. That
And
should,
they
yes.
saying to people,
Dude
just
is
go to
right.
your boss and demand that they give you because that's not happening.
Listen, it, this is first of all, that's a huge problem. Second of all, if you're still going to content where they're discussing how to have a seat at the table, get your bag and leave that session. Just get your bag and leave. If
Literally, you are so right. And I should have, but I was in the front row too busy going like this.
saying, mm,
Shocked, right? I could not move. And it
I
was a
would have,
young
you have to
girl.
get up. You have to get
And
up.
I said, what if they said, we can't have the conversation? There's a guest in the room. They said, you're going to be homophobic. You just told me that you would normally be homophobic. You just
Listen,
said that you are violating, like, you are being discriminatory towards me.
when
Potentially.
those of you who are in the work, when we are dealing with, and I'll be simple, when you're dealing with an employee who has, and I'll use that example, right, who has either said something about the gay community or yeah, something maybe generalized about the gay community, and I've had to sit with that person and say, Jimmy, did you say this? He's like, yeah, John. Jimmy, you can't. That's not true, right? That's a generalization. It's not true for everybody. And Jimmy's like, well, and I'm like, Jimmy, you know, that Mike in your team on your team has I'm not saying anything that isn't known. Mike is gay. So how do you think that makes Mike feel to know that you're saying these things? And Jimmy will say to me, well, I don't mean Mike.
And
Mike's
that's when you're
cool.
supposed to say, Jimmy, you are going on an inclusion performance plan.
Yes. Yes. And I'm
But
like,
those,
well,
those are the things that escalate, right?
yes.
Soon you'll be doing all sorts of random, gross, disgusting things. But as soon as you permeate, it's just letting you think it's just a little. And you just crushed somebody's dreams. Like you just broke somebody.
Here's your third company. That's the next tech. We need to create a robust inclusion learning plan, performance plan for folks that need to be put on one. You cannot,
You heard it
if
heard
you're
here first.
seriously, you can't just say to a manager, and I don't mean this demeaning to a manager per se, but what we are so dumb too often to say, you're going on a PIP. First of all, y'all, stop making a PIP a weapon. That's
That's
ridiculous.
right. Like really help
But
the people. And that's why I'm like, this is a performance plan when you're talking about an inclusive. You really need to learn through this. And you're obvious. But why do we say you're racist? Don't be racist. And they say, okay.
okay, thank you. I feel so much better. Uh, the manager is not equipped to be able to do a PIP that's, quite
At
frankly,
all.
that's inclusive oriented. They're not. We just haven't taught them. So why would we do that? You need a tool to help support that, right? To give that perspective, because I'm changing the names, but I've had this conversation with the Jimmies of the world, and when Jimmy
That's right.
genuinely will say, "I don't feel that way about Mike. Mike's cool. I
Right.
know Mike's gay, but that's not who I'm talking about." Yeah, but Jimmy, it is who you're talking
No,
about.
you
I know,
are.
right? I know you know Mike. What I want you to do is think about more Mikes being in the group that you think you're talking about. What if all the gays are like Mike? Because you don't know any but Mike. You are wrong, right? That obviously means you're wrong. And because you don't know, let's start with that. And then let's change your thinking. Let's work on some, quite frankly, for some of them, it's absolutely behavioral. What are you filling your mind with? Where are you getting that information? What are you exposing yourself to? Change some of those habits.
Because
That's
that's
practice.
why when we're talking about doing this, so people can just do their job. And everybody knows that Jimmy's in there.
Yep.
And so Martha can't do her job because she's just waiting to see when Jimmy's going to come back and say some stupid thing to them
Well, now
and
I'm going to
waiting
really
in
irritate you. I'm
her
going to
voice.
really irritate you. Jimmy's not only working there, Jimmy might be in a tech company helping to build product that's now going to
That's
go out
right.
into the market.
HR software.
Bias. Yeah. Where's the bias in that, right? Something might creep in for sure. We're so
It's not racist. It's
smart.
true.
Gosh.
We
Honestly,
should
y'all,
be in there.
we just built an entire platform in 4 minutes. I just want to
I mean,
say,
we gotta go because we have things to build. And I need some French toast. I'm going to Citizens. I'm having breakfast.
Are you really?
Yeah, you want to go?
No,
Yes, you do.
because it's our man crush this morning who's speaking.
I know. I haven't been eating. I have to, y'all.
You
You
go eat.
cannot do
I just need to hear him
without.
speak.
Okay,
Those of you who
we're
know
recording.
Marcus Buckingham is speaking this morning, and I sit there and close my eyes and just listen to him. Not because he ain't pretty. I don't close my eyes because he's revolting to look at. It's just his voice with the accent for
Well,
me and his intonation. I don't know what it is. I can just listen to him forever.
all I know is that yesterday I walked. It was like 10 miles. The day before, it
Oh
was
my
like
gosh, I
seven
forgot
miles.
to look.
Yeah, and you just can't. You can't do it without having the proper fuel. You can't have it without having. We're in. Todd sent me a text, and I was laughing. He was like, "Remember." He always sends me the "remember to stay hydrated." Hydrated, but then he said, "P.S. You're in a desert."
But I'm in air conditioning, Todd,
Like,
in a
yeah,
building.
like, but it's so dry anyway. Like
It
the
is
air
dry.
that's coming in, it's very dry. Tacita was like, "What's going on? What's happening to me?" And it's like, you're in a desert. You're in a desert.
It's my lips. My lips get the full brunt of the desert. These
And
slabs of
you have
bologna
to
cannot
like
handle it.
and the snack, you can't do the snacks. And when you're going to these parties, it's not like a spaghetti dinner. It's a chicken wing here, a French
Yep.
fry here, a slider here. You're not getting the right amount of energy to be able to sustain all these days. So I'm having
And
a
let me
full
do
breakfast.
let me do a PSA on that if you don't mind. PSA, uh, please keep the buffalo crusted cauliflower. Take that off the menu. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
That's very thoughtful. I say keep it, and the
No.
gluten free. Keep it
No,
for the
it's
people.
not that I don't get the reason for it. It doesn't stay well in a chafing
They
dish or a
Oh, no,
sterno.
just
It
have a
doesn't
bowl of
it
green
doesn't stay.
beans, vegan green beans,
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
nice
How about
pie would be
edamame?
nice, right? Even
Edamame.
if it was a mashed potato bar where you could have, like if you
I
had like
know.
you can a baked potato bar, like that.
Mm.
Those are not expensive, and you
I
can
want
still
an
have people.
edamame bar. Edamame bar.
I like edamame.
Me too. Have an edamame
I like
bar. I can add other vegetables to it. Do that. How about that?
Yeah,
Do that.
but like and be thoughtful of the environment with those hummus cups.
Oh my
Not trying
gosh.
to be
How are you
nobody's
holding
eating
a
hummus.
drink and trying to eat out of a hummus cup? You can't do it. You need a third hand. Don't
And
serve me
nobody's
that.
that much with that one carrot. Maybe that's next. We're gonna be like, how to throw a party, Jackie and John style.
Look, you see, that's the most aggravating thing for me. I want to sit
Why
with
don't
the
people have
food menu.
lollipops, right? Where you have a bone that you can hold on, and they're given full chicken wings. I was like, someone was like, Jackie, why do you have such a hard time eating at these places? I was like, because I'm shaking hands all day. I'm picking up
Yes,
swag all day, and now
yes.
you want me freaking chicken wing in my mouth. Like I can't. My fingers are disgusting. I'm gonna put that on somebody else's hand. I'm supposed to put that in my mouth. I can't do it. I can't eat any of it. And people have been coughing on the thing. Katie was so funny yesterday. I was like, I'm literally starving to death, like almost with a tear. So the guy comes by and I'm like, no thanks. And Katie's like, Vincent, stop, Jackie, chicken kebab. And Vincent's like, I just walked by Jackie and she said no to the chicken kebab. And she goes, you wait right here. Jackie, come on
Mama
to the.
Katie.
And
Mama
he's looking at me.
Katie.
I'm like, I get it, because Katie is not playing around. If she, I'm gonna save both of us. And thank you for the chicken kebab. I'm eating it. Like I know he's looking at me like, why is this woman running you? And I'm like, you have no idea.
You have no
You have
idea.
no idea
Don't ask
what's gonna
questions and
chicken
don't ask
kebab.
questions and don't look her directly in the eye. That's the advice you have
That
to give to people.
that is right.
Y'all, what a fast hour. All the time I say the
We
same
did it
thing.
last year. We didn't make it. I didn't make it last year. This year, I made it.
We did it. We got up early. We are so appreciative of all of you who joined us for this early edition for us from Vegas at HR Tech. We'll be back next week. So good to see you all.
Love
Enjoy
y'all.
your day. Love Neffel. Have a great day.